Hey everybody, it's Ron, and today I'm going to be reviewing the first story featuring the classic pulp hero Doc Savage. For those of you who don't know, Doc Savage is one of the original heroes alongside characters like the Shadow and the Phantom, for example, that predate our modern superheroes like Superman and Batman. He was created by writer Lester Dent, who went by Kenneth Robeson. I've recently been getting into these older stories from the 1930s because they're so quick and fun to read, and it's all pure escapism, with a huge back catalog which is mostly free if you look for it hard enough. I find it fascinating to read about these characters that were created way before my time, and it's fun to see what the heroes of our time have cherry-picked from these stories. For example, the influence on Superman is very obvious since Doc Savage was known as the Man of Bronze, had a fortress of solitude, and his first name was even Clark. In this novel, we're introduced to Doc Savage, who owns a floor of a skyscraper in New York City with his 5 companions: Ham, the lawyer, Rennie, the engineer, Johnny, the archaeologist, Long Tom, the electrical expert, and Monk, the expert chemist. As soon as I started reading about his group of friends, I was like, great, I'm never going to get a hold of who's who throughout this whole novel. And it was kind of confusing at first, but it didn't derail the pacing of it, which is a small miracle in itself. It starts with a mystery because Doc Savage's father has been murdered, and they find out it was from a sickness called the Red Death. Not long after Doc finds this out, he's attacked by a sniper, and this leads to some great action in the beginning of the book. You know you're reading the work of a talented writer when you can clearly visualize every beat of the action, almost as if you're watching it, and I felt that way in the beginning of this book. This whole first story deals with a letter left to Doc Savage from his father, telling him to travel to a hidden valley in South America to inherit his dad's wealth. Aside from the comparisons to modern-day superheroes, this whole novel reminded me of the first 3 Indiana Jones movies, which had to have been influenced by these stories a little bit. I really love the camaraderie between Doc and his friends and their enthusiastic attitude they have about going on an adventure with him. I think Ham was probably my favorite of these side characters because he's always taking shots at the other guys, but he gets it back just as much, and it leads to a funny dynamic which lightens the mood in an otherwise serious situation. There were 2 aspects of this novel that I found really funny, even though it probably wasn't intentional at the time. But the way Lester Dent describes Doc Savage's perfection as a human being got so over the top that it went from being funny to a little overwhelming, and then it was just charming at the end because that's the character he set out to create. And not unlike Batman, he has a solution to every problem they face. And I get that it's sort of a male fantasy, and I'm sure a bunch of kids in the 30s looked up to Doc and aspired to be like him when they grew up. I also thought it was funny that he sets up kind of a love interest with the princess of this Mayan culture, and Doc Savage has literally 0 interest in her the whole time. He's like, no way, I'm too busy for women, I have a job to do. And I just thought it was hilarious. It carries through all the way to the end because he's just like, all right, see you, lady. Thanks for helping us. And I'm not going to kiss you. I'm not going to do anything. I enjoyed the clever ways Doc and the gang get out of situations that you would think are impossible to escape. And the mystery of who actually killed his father was wrapped up in a satisfying way. It actually wasn't as predictable as I thought it would be because at first the king of the Mayan civilization they meet is very accommodating to Doc and tells him that he knew his father and wants to give Doc the gold they have to use for good during his future adventures. And the whole time I thought he would turn out to be the man who actually killed his father, but that never happened, so that was interesting because I thought I saw that coming from a mile away. So yeah, it was nice to read a good old-fashioned adventure like this, and I look forward to reading more Doc Savage novels in the future. I wish more of the reprints were available, but they're really hard to find online, and I wish someone would come out with new collections and put a bunch of these stories into one volume, but oh well. Let me know what you guys think about Doc Savage in the comments, and please be sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, it's Ron here with a quick announcement. When I started this channel, I was reading and reviewing the Dune books and other sci-fi related material, and most of you might not know that I'm also a musician. So when I was reading these sci-fi books, I started to get inspired and decided to make my own soundtrack to use for my videos, and now I'm excited to tell you all about the first volume in the Ron Reviews original soundtrack collection. This album includes the first 17 tracks featured on my channel, and it's available now exclusively on Bandcamp. Be sure to check the description of this video for the link to the album. Thanks so much for the support so far. I know I'm just starting out, but I hope you're having as much fun as I am. So check out the original soundtrack Volume 1 on Bandcamp. This music is great if you want something moody and atmospheric to listen to while you're reading some science fiction. I think you're going to love it. Thanks.